So you guys just shot the reunion.
Oh, yeah.
We're in New York. You just shot the reunion.
Woo, I'm surprised I made it today, Emily. I think it was a little rough.
Were they at least nice to the pregnant lady? I mean, come on. Okay, so we have to start off with the big news. Congratulations, baby number 2.
Baby number 2 is here. It's official. I know you can't really tell, so I'm going to give you the official bump reveal. 4 months.
Gorgeous.
Thank you. I'm super excited. But it was quite a journey to get here, though, Emily.
I know.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of you for
Thank
being so brave and sharing your story.
Thank
because it's really vulnerable and it's really hard to share that. But so many women sadly experience it.
Yeah, I think it's like 1 in 4 pregnancies end in miscarriage. Most of them in the early stages, so a lot of women don't know. Yeah. But for me, after about 2.5 months of, and the crazy thing is the minute you find out you're pregnant, you like become a mom again. It's like, you know, you open your heart to this new child and what your family dynamic is going to be. And so it was crushing. It was crushing because I didn't expect it. And I had to go to the hospital, blood transfusion. It was just a nightmare. So I feel so blessed that in such a short space of time, Ross and I got pregnant again. And this one is healthy and strong. And my due season to be a big brother. So all good.
I'm so happy for you guys. And I know the fans. I was already reading all the comments. Everyone is so happy and overjoyed to see this.
Yeah, that's the best part. I mean, people have been like, when is baby number 2 coming? I'm like, hold on, hold the phone. It's coming. So this, I feel like this is like a community baby, like everybody's baby. So it's exciting. Yeah.
So how is Juice? What's he thinking? Is he
Oh my
excited?
goodness. No, he's over the moon. Okay. Like he literally had been asking me, when am I going to be a big brother for months before the first one? And so, you know, he's totally a part of the loop. Like he's like, Mom, when's our next doctor's appointment? When is she or he gonna be here? It's like he prays every night for her, puts his hand on my belly. It's the sweetest thing. So he can't wait. And I think he's gonna be an awesome big brother.
Wait, you just said for her, but I know you don't know the sex.
Yeah, I want a girl.
Just saying. Okay.
I want a girl so bad. Like, I don't know. I'm praying it's a girl. And I had a little bit of nausea this time. I didn't have it last time. Okay. So that's a good indicator. They say usually get sick with the girls more than the boys. So fingers crossed.
Okay. Will all the ladies, all the peach holders be at the baby shower this year?
Well, we'll see if everybody gets an invite. No, I'm joking. Yes, they'll all be there.
I love it. This season is a wild one for Atlanta.
Yeah.
We see a lot of your family dynamic shifting. Is your brother-in-law still your assistant?
No, ma'am. That was short-lived, Emily. I don't know what I was thinking, actually, when I did that. So like you said, so obviously people get to see this view of our multi-generational living. And my family and I've always been really close, but this is our first time ever all living together under the same roof. And we've always worked together and it's been really successful, but this added dynamic of living together has completely changed the game. And when I hired Tyrell, my sister's husband, who's my husband's best friend since college, I've known him since I was a teenager. Yeah, it wasn't the best idea.
So how'd you fire him? How'd you let him down?
He actually quit. I was like, is it that bad? Because what happened is that he thought it was like, he was like, oh, you know, she's busy, but he was like, oh my gosh, your schedule is insane.
Yeah.
And then it was tough because it's like, he's right here. So I'm like, he's kind of always available.
Yeah.
I'm like, always ask him to do stuff. So I think it's better this way, though.
Okay. I completely agree for your sanity and for your workflow. So you guys just shot the reunion.
Oh, yeah.
We're in New York. You just shot the reunion.
Woo, I'm surprised I made it today, Emily. I think it was a little rough.
Were they at least nice to the pregnant lady? I mean, come on.
It's so funny because I just actually read a tweet where they're like, I hope they didn't go too easy on her because she was pregnant. For the record, they did not, okay? They brought all of their issues, all of their stuff. But when I tell you this was an epic reunion,
really?
And I know I can't give you too much tea, but I feel like I can share at least what Andy said. So Andy said that on this reunion, he probably saw the shadiest receipt in the history of Real Housewives.
Stop.
And we were on the floor. So it just starts off so great. But I think what made this reunion so good was everyone was so honest about how they were feeling. All of the issues on camera, off camera, on social media, they all came up and we talked.
All right.
And sometimes, you know, the volume might have went here, there, everywhere. But I just think we ended up in a really good place where I felt like I got everything off my chest.
Okay.
Which I think is what the reunion is all about.
Yeah.
And it was very entertaining, very fun, very loving, emotional. in certain spots. It was a really good wrap up of what I thought was a great season.
Good.
Yeah.
You know, Kandi is the longest running housewife of all the franchises, which is so insane.
Yeah.
But fans, of course, every year they're like, is she gonna come back?
Yeah.
Is she gonna retire this? What do you think? Is Kandi gonna come back next season?
Well, I mean, I guess it's if she wants to and what the network wants, right? So there's kind of that, you know, tug and pull. I think after watching Kandi last night, I feel like Kandi is still like
in the game,
a staple for for Atlanta Housewives. Like she's just so like open and honest, and even herself yesterday she shared it was a tough season for her. She had a lot on her plate, you know, and she feels like she might have bit off more than she could chew, and that was one of our issues with her. Like, you're not here, you're not showing up, and she owned it, you know. And she was like, I'll do better. I want to be with you guys. So I love Kandi. I love what she brings to the show. I love what she means to Atlanta, the city, and to the show. So I would say that, you know, if the show stays in the same direction, then yes, for sure she'd be back. And if she wants to do it, but I think that she's a huge part of that franchise.
I'm obsessed with Kandi, so I love her.
Yeah.
I feel like anytime I interview her, she's like, okay, you're too much. Cause I'm like, so where do you get your nails done? Like, I'm just like want to know everything about her, you know?
She's super cool.
So, you know, RHONY just did a complete recasting and reboot. So a lot of fans are saying for the other franchises, like, would we see this? Do you think there needs to be new additions for Atlanta, or what is your take? Do you like this cast?
Yeah. I think that I think the revamp for New York is amazing, and I think it worked for that show. I think that they were in a critical place in kind of the journey of their, you know, like their histories was 13, 14 years as well. I personally think that this cast on the show is great. I think that we are finally really getting to know each other, and I think what makes this show really great is sisterhood and friendship, and that takes time. You know, Drew's been on for 3 years, I've been on for 2 years. Now I really feel like I'm starting to get to know the ladies. I know, like, you know, which ones are my real friends that we hang out all the time, and the ones that we're still navigating this friendship. And I think that those relationships bring this dynamic of drama and conflict, and that's interesting. So I think that if they were to recast Atlanta, it would be like we lose all of that.
Right.
You know? And so personally, and I might be a little biased because I'm on the cast, obviously, you know, I think this cast is great. I do think, obviously, always bringing in fresh people makes it fun.
Yeah.
Bringing back maybe some old people might also add to that as well. But I personally think that the trajectory of the show is still great. And, you know, especially after last night, I feel like, you know, the show's in a good spot.
Okay. Were you friends with Nene, or did you ever know Nene Leakes?
No, no. So I didn't know Nene before. So I actually lived in Austin the majority of my life and moved to Atlanta just 2 years ago. So I'm really new to the city. I have met Nene and seen her out at social events and stuff, and, you know, I've had good encounters with her, but I didn't know her before, or, you know.
Yeah, because she just did this big interview that everyone's talking about.
Yeah.
But you probably don't have that many hot takes. Because...
Well, and to be honest, because it came out right before the reunion, I didn't get a chance to watch it in its entirety. So I've just seen a few things that have come down, you know, the social media timeline.
Yeah.
But, you know, Nene's a hoot. She's been a hoot, right? We know that. So I'm going to get home, I'll watch it. But, yeah, I don't really have a lot to say about it.
Okay. Okay, so we're kind of halfway, a little more than halfway through the season, I think. What can you tease for us the rest of the season? What will go down?
Well, you know, the rest of the season, or the remainder of the season, I think gets better. I think when we come back from our Portugal trip, a lot happens. I literally felt like, I feel like they had to cut so much stuff because we had so much content in the last couple weeks. And so they picked the best of it, which makes the show so good. So there's a lot of wrap-ups of our stories. Obviously, my story with my pregnancy, and obviously they came back and we filmed after with Drew. So there's a lot there about, you know, like, what might we see as clues as to, you know, what happens with Drew's marriage ultimately now being in the place that it's in.
I think as fans, we were all sad to see, because we never want to see anyone get a divorce on the show.
Yeah.
What is your take on that? Did you see that coming?
Not at all. So literally about a week or two before the big announcement, Drew hosted Ralph's 40th birthday party, and Ross and I were both there. It was at this, like, a very popular club in Atlanta, and when I tell you, we had a ball. Like, there was a moment where they lowered the music, she sang her song to him, and she was like dancing with him, and it was just like, the energy was so great.
Yeah.
And so for me to see the news like a week or two later, I was like, what? Like, Ross and I didn't see it at all, obviously. we have seen that they have some challenges in their marriage, like over the last couple years. But they just looked so in love prior to that I was kind of shocked. And I still have hope that they can reconcile, because I remember when I first met Drew and Ralph, we went out to dinner, and I feel like there's a love there. There was a laughter. There was a joy that I felt was a reflection of real love. And so I think it gets really tricky when you're on a platform like this, like you're on reality TV, sharing these really tough issues. Everyone has an opinion. And so I think if they can just quiet the noise and just get back to the love, maybe there's a chance. But I don't know. They're definitely going through it right now.
Yeah. They always say the curse of this show is your marriage will end in divorce. How do you kind of make sure that, were you nervous about that even coming on this show?
Yeah, for sure. I think reality TV, all of us are, hypersensitive to the divorce rate. But I'm a realist, and in the world there's a high divorce rate. And I think that's because a lot of people are not committed to, when you get married, it says for better or for worse. And I think a lot of people go into marriage just thinking it's going to be this fairy tale. It's going to be flowers and roses and cupcakes, and it's not. It's two people who are imperfect, who are going to have challenges, who are going to have bad days, who might get ill, you might have financial issues. All these things happen. And so for me, I'm just like, regardless if I'm on reality TV or not, I prioritize my marriage. I'm very prayerful about my marriage. And, like even when that happened with Ralph and Drew, I did another check-in, like, how are we doing? Like, what can we do to ensure that our bond is as close as ever? So I think that there's a microscope on reality television, so it's highlighted, but I think it's throughout the world. People struggle with marriage. And so it's really about just doing the work. And ours isn't perfect. And, I know that there are challenges that will come up, but I'm really committed to fighting for my marriage.
I love that.
Thank you.
Okay, unpopular opinion, but you also said that you do really like Shiree and her man.
I do. And I think it's because I have spent the most one-on-one time with them out of a lot of the ladies in the group. And they just look like they're really into each other. He seems really kind to her. I know he doesn't have the best history. But yeah, I like them. She's very happy when she's with him. And I think that's a huge indicator of how he makes her feel and all that. So, while she's there for it, I'm here for it too.
I love that. I love when a friend is supportive. It's like, if you love him, I'll love him.
Exactly.
It's got to work for you. It doesn't need to work for me. Right? I feel like people always get kind of confused with that kind of thing.
Agreed.
I'm trying to do the math if we're going to have the cameras rolling when you have this baby or not.
The cameras should be rolling.
Okay. I can't wait.
Thank you.
I'm hoping that, well, I'll say it later.
Okay. Thank you so much. This was so much fun. Thanks for having me, Emily.